Hello, fourth graders. It's Mr. Jones again. Hope everybody's doing good. I wanted to read you guys a book and see what our thoughts are on it. And this book is about difference of opinion. And I remember you guys were working on your cool, before we left school, you guys were working on your cool robots. And I saw everybody talking about how we should put the robots together in your groups. And some people had difference of opinion here, some people had different ideas there, so on and so forth. So we've also been learning about how to write our opinions in a paper in that writing lesson. So I found a really cool book that focuses on difference of opinion and cool robots. So, what I want you guys to pay attention to while I read this book, I want to see if you guys can find the difference of opinion between the two characters in the book and how they work together to come up with a solution. So, and how they came up with it. So, throughout this book, I will be asking questions on our Google Classroom, and you'll just go ahead and answer those questions and just submit them if you want. But I just thought I'd read you guys a cool book that had a lot to do with what we had been talking about before we left school and kind of what we're talking about now. So I'll go ahead and start reading the book. Just listen along, and I hope you enjoy it. So let's go. Ready to start here? So this book is about, it's called Wonky, a robotics club story by Darcy Pattison. So the robotics club began on the first day of school, right after the last bell. Howie plodded in and looked around nervously. He knew everything about robotics, from BEN to Z7 Zark 7. What would these kids know anything about robotics? Would he find a friend here? We'll see. Time to choose partners, called the teacher. Jim chose Nathan. Amy chose Arceli. Pimili chose Nadine. And no one chose Howie. Oh. He went to hide in his shell and disappear. He wanted to hide in his shell and disappear. Instead, he raised his head higher and said to himself, "No big deal. Just wanted just what I wanted anyways. This way, no one will ruin my robotic design." Suddenly, the classroom door banged open. In bounded an ostrich. What did I miss? He was skinny on the top and bottom, but his middle was so fluffy. Look at that ostrich. Howie hid from the bouncy bird, but the teacher said, "Howie, you could be partners with Lincoln." Look at he's peeking in his turtle shell there. "Where are you from?" Howie asked softly. "I've never seen any birds like you around here." Lincoln boomed. "East Africa." "Oh," said Howie. "Why did you move here?" "My father moved here on business," said Lincoln. "He programs robots." "Oh," said Howie. "Do you know anything about robots?" "My father taught me everything about robots, from audio receptors to zero gravity chips. I'm, what's the word? Brawny?" "I think you mean brainy," Howie said. "I'd just say I'm smart." "Smart. Good word. I'm still learning English," said Lincoln. "Thanks for helping." Howie smiled in surprise. The teacher said, "Let's get started. Today, you'll plan your robot. How will it look and what will it do?" Howie drew a robot. "Too boring," said Lincoln. Howie said, "But every robot needs a head, a body, legs to move around, and arms or wings. They look like us." "No," said Lincoln. They don't have to look like us. Lincoln drew and drew. Howie shook his head. That's wonky. But it made him think. He drew an octopus robot. That's pretty cool. Howie drew and drew. That's wonky? Asked Lincoln. He drew a starfish. Lincoln drew and drew. That's wonky, Howie said. Looks like an ant. A worm. Howie drew and drew. That's wonky? Asked Lincoln. Howie started upward. We're getting nowhere. So what do we want this robot to do? Lincoln said. I want a robot to keep my sister out of my room. Me too. Together they drew one last design. The teacher called. Time to show your designs. When it was their turn, Howie held up the drawing. The teacher looked at the drawing and frowned. Womp womp. He pulled his chin, scratched his head. Finally, he asked, Are you sure you can make it work? It looks a little bit wonky. Yes, said Howie and Lincoln together. Wonky is it, said the teacher. He turned to look at other drawings. Can I ask a question? Lincoln said. What does wonky mean? Have I been saying it right? What could Howie say? Wonky meant something was odd, but he didn't want to tell Lincoln that. The new kid was too skinny and too fluffy at the same time, but he had interesting ideas. He did know everything about robotics, from audio receptors to zero gravity chips. And Howie did want to make a friend on his first day of school. Finally, Howie said, Wonky means odd, but wonderful. Lincoln bent low and asked softly, Can wonky also mean friend? Yes, Howie said happily. We are wonky friends. That is a cool book, guys. So, I want you guys to think about what we learned about and maybe take away from some of your experiences from when we worked on the robot projects together. So that was a cool story about difference of opinion and how they figured out how to build a robot that they both wanted, even though they might have had different opinion on how it looked or how it should operate, who knows. So it was fun reading to you guys. Keep your eyes out for some of these questions each day that I'll ask you in the story. And sweet. See you guys.